I think this type of technology, using the clickers in terms of a community meeting and engaging the audience, is excellent. That part was the most interesting part of the presentation, was seeing how the answers different between the classmates, or not the classmates, but the people in the audience, and where everyone was coming from, and how he could kind of make the presentation based around those answers. It really added an interesting element to it, and it kept everyone interested.
What I think about this type of technology and approach to engagement is that it is very easy to use. Citizens or your audience, they don't have to think too hard about it. They just push buttons, and it's very encompassing. So you kind of don't have to speak out and say if you're a little afraid or intimidated in an audience. You can just use the buttons to do that. We have this technology, and it just started me thinking, after hearing his presentation, more about how we can incorporate it more into some of the things we're doing. I have a communications team, and I think I could definitely use that. I have about 20 or so people on that team, and I think to get more engagement and them talking, they can use this, and I can get some more feedback from them than them just sitting in the meeting and just listening to me download on them. I liked how he broke that out about the different ways of talking about the meetings too. So I think this is a very interactive technology.
I think this type of technology really opens up our opportunity to engage our citizens. We spend a lot of time in public meetings. We spend a lot of time talking to people, and this technology allows us to hear from them at the same time we are talking with them.
I think this technology has the potential to bring a lot of people into the fold. It's difficult when you're dealing with such a wide variety of people, especially in government, because it encompasses everybody. And how do you talk to everybody and make sure that everybody has a voice and that everybody's heard? And I think this is something that definitely makes it easier to guarantee that you're getting a wide sample of the population. I mean, you're just pressing a button. I mean, that's all it takes.
I think the most important thing that I learned today through the class was a new way to approach a public meeting. I thought the way it went about and the 3 different methods for having a public meeting were really interesting, and something I've never thought about, and something I definitely would like to think of a way to implement myself.
What I think the most important thing that I learned today is that I need to be using this technology. We have it, and we need to be using it. We haven't been using it very often. We had it for an HR training with ethics, and people got to answer questions, but that's been a couple years now. So we have a new bond commission that just has been formed for a bond referendum that was passed, and it's 42 people, and it's going to be hard to, I think, get 42 people in a room to really come up with answers sometimes. So I think if we can incorporate this technology into what we're doing, I think it's going to make our meetings probably go a lot smoother.
I think the most important thing that I learned today about this technology is how we're missing the opportunity when we don't use it. Again, when we have all of our public meetings and our public forums and people show up and certain people dominate, this technology really would allow all of those who take the time to participate to have a voice and to be represented. And it gives us a chance to hear from them and honestly change the dialogue if need be, because we know what they're thinking as we go through the presentation.
Well, I think the most important takeaway for me today was just it's sort of surprising to see that how underutilized this technology is. Outside of the education field, I mean, it really doesn't seem like it's very widespread. And there's a lot of places that this could be used, and a lot of people that could benefit from it.
I thought David's presentation style was very good. He was very engaging, and you can tell when somebody's interested about the subject that they're talking about. He was very passionate about it, and it made you feel more interested in watching it.
What I thought of David's presentation style was that he was engaging. He actually had great eye contact, and he was interesting to listen to. Even though some of it was downloading and telling us about it, in between that, he would use the technology and let us use it with him, so we got to experience it. I think that was the best part. If he just sat there and held it up and told us about it, it wouldn't have been as interesting as him letting us just work with him in that. And then at the end, the way he took it amazed me. The way he took the questions that he asked us before his presentation even began and then summarized them and then let us actually vote on those was a great way to wrap up the beginning and the end all together with the technology.
I really enjoyed the presentation today. He was very engaging. The audience participation after an entire day of training was a great way to show us exactly how this technology works, so that if we're doing meetings and we're doing presentations and we have lost the audience, it is very easy to bring people back to the discussion by using the technology. And he did so in a non-threatening and educational, but a very life application way.
I thought the presentation was very entertaining. I mean, it was interactive, which was great, and you really got a sense of how your response can be on the screen immediately. And the idea that you have 50, 60, or hundreds of people in the same room, and you can hear everybody's voice, but you're hearing them all at once. You just see it on the screen, and the answers are right there immediately. I mean, it's just a pretty cool way to ask people their opinions